but not least, the same story again comes with some of the commentary where the reporter said, "But will you?" When Joe Biden was asked, "What happened with you, Joe Biden?" When his question was asked, it's pretty intense. President Joe Biden, on February 7th, promised to prevent Nord Stream 2 from becoming operational if Russia invaded Ukraine. He said, "If Russia invades, then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it." Reporter asked, "But how will you do that exactly? Since the project is in Germany's control." Biden, "I promise you, we will be able to do that." That's 7 months ago. So, based on what you've been following the story and where you're at, what the hell is going on with Nord Stream 1 and 2? Who's behind it?
One of the earliest victims in times of tension is the difference between what I think and what I know. And one of the things I learned at the agency is, man, be very careful about crossing that line. I think the White House has been more cautious than some of the people in Europe.
Oh, what the fuck? It looked like they was bowling.
I think Russia did.
Oh, there's the lag.
Because you're looking at multilateral warfare. We define warfare in terms of kinetic. I put bombs on something, I put artillery on something. Clearly, going into the winter with Europe, it's dependent on gas from Russia. You would say
He's
on
in
the
the
surface, why
grass.
does Russia want to sabotage pipelines where they're making money? They want to tell Europe, and this is very simple,
Oh.
they want to tell Europe when it gets cold, and you need to heat homes, careful. We're your source, and if Nord Stream 2 comes on, you're going to continue from your source. And this is what can happen if you guys don't sort of continue to import and also don't back off on Ukraine. So I think Russia did it, but, you know, that's what I think. That's not what I know. I would want to have basic questions. For example, technical questions. When do we get overseas drones so we can see how these things were sabotaged? Can engineers tell me what the causes of those sabotage might have been? As a non-expert, I'm not. My degree's in English literature. I want to know what exactly happened and whether that could be explained by natural means, or whether an engineer can guarantee to me that that's an external event that was manipulated by a human being. So I think Russia did it. I think the reasons are pretty basic. I think Biden overpromised. I'd close by saying this is where foreign policy is interesting. One of the things that fascinates me in three-dimensional. For example, there's got to be a lot of conversations, and these include people like the Saudis, a lot of conversations about energy security in Europe going on 10 years.
No!
You know, that's where Anthony Blinken's involved. Here's a really interesting conversation I would have liked to participate in if I were still in. Let's
I don't know
anticipate
why, but
that
I really
Putin
like
will
the
stay aggressive over the
Suzukis.
course of time. What are we learning
think
about
they look-
vulnerabilities of Russian
look
forces
cool.
in Ukraine? How do we push NATO
it says that they
without
have better
additional
braking
American
power.
backing to say we want to
But
forward deploy
it's
in
slower
places like the Balkans and
with the
Poland to take
acceleration.
advantage of those Russian vulnerabilities if Russia does so. There's a lot of planning going on here.
I only have
And
two
think
of them in this category.
The gas pipeline is part of it because you are guaranteeing that Russians or that the Europeans realize they're under threat. So
can't
now is
drive
the
the
time to
fast
go in and
ones.
talk to them and say, we better
Because I
prepare for
don't
the
use
next
the
one. We don't know if that's
wheelie
Balkans, we don't know if
control.
it's Poland, but be careful. The Baltics, not Balkans.
Quick follow-up. By the way, I
Yeah,
completely appreciate what you say about
it.
what you think versus what you know. I think that's something we could all kind of take away from this episode is like, you might think something, but you don't know for
I
sure.
sit on a WMD.
Exactly. I mean,
Outside America.
Oh my
I've been
God.
there too many times.
It's such a powerful comment right there. Quick question. What are the chances that the U.S. actually did this? You know, what is that number? Is it 1%? Is it 5%? What is that?
Zero.
Zero. You don't think they did this?
But again, let me be for people who say, you know, you're just supporting the government. If you do that, you're going to have an executive order. That executive order is going to have to go through a chain of command. You're going to have to not have a number of people who are involved in the actual sabotage operation. So going to my college stats class,
Yeah.
what's the likelihood that not one of them has or will ever speak? If you're doing the multiplication numbers, that's just not possible. I never saw a secret that didn't get out. Nothing we did that I can remember. I'm sure there's some minor things, but the major operations,
track's hard.
I can't think of any that didn't get out.
Fair enough. And then regarding Russia, I'm not the Nord Stream guy, but I do understand supply and demand and imports, exports. If they're making money from Europe, now they're not going to be able to make money because these Nord Stream won't be working.